everyone, this is Julia. This week I thought I would do something a little bit different and share with you my 5 top things that I use every week in my sewing room. Now this is besides my sewing machine, but it's some of the things that I find very useful, and I hope that this helps you. Maybe you can put it on your wish list or whatever, but I hope you enjoy this. Thanks so much for watching. The first item on my favorites is pre-wound bobbins. I have been using pre-wound bobbins for a really long time, and I started off using just the pre-wound bobbins that had the cardboard sides, and they worked until you got down to the down to the end, and then it would sometimes mess up underneath the bottom. It just didn't work once the bobbin was almost gone. But I found these recently on Amazon, and everything will be linked down below for you. They are pre-wound bobbins on little plastic. They just look like regular bobbins, only they're all pre-wound. So once they're gone, I do save the little plastic bobbins because I like to wind cord and things on them for bobbin work. And they come, I mean, isn't this awesome? Because it just takes so long to wind your bobbins. But I got the white ones, but I believe you can also get black ones. And bobbin thread's a little bit thinner than regular thread, and it's 100% polyester. It's great for if you're doing any decorative stitching or free motion stitching. I don't know so much about constructing garments with this, and I don't think that's really the use, but if you do embroidery work or any kind of decorative type work, these are awesome. So for my sewing, when I do a lot of free motion applique, perfect for that. They come 144 in a little box, and the box range, when I purchased them, I got them on Amazon, they were $26.99. So you kind of have an idea of the price. So actually, when you consider how expensive thread is, it's a bargain. My next thing is also on the thread line, and this is my favorite decorative thread. I get it from Joann Fabrics. It's made by Coats & Clark, and it's 100% cotton. But you get, I think there's 1,200 yards on a spool, which is a lot of thread. And this is my favorite color. This is called Gumballs, and it's variegated with the oranges and pinks and kind of like a teal or aqua color. And I use this a ton for my free motion stitching, and also just any kind of decorative stitching, maybe in a fabric collage or something I'm using. I use this thread. I get it, I said, at Joann Fabrics, and it normally runs $12.99 per spool, but they run it on sale a lot. In fact, it's on sale right now, I just checked, for $6.49 a spool, and they have $1.99 shipping right now. So very reasonable thread if you like a variegated type thread for your special stitching. The third item on my list of favorites are my fabric adhesives. Now I do a lot of applique work, a lot of free motion applique, and so I'm always putting one fabric on top of my project or another piece of fabric. And in order to get it to the sewing machine in the design that I want, I use an adhesive. Now I've used the Heat and Bond Light many times on different videos, and I'm going to link a video up on the top corner so you can kind of take a look and see how just the steps in using the Heat and Bond Light if you've missed that from past videos. Now on to the 505 adhesive spray. This is how I use the 505 temporary fabric adhesive. I'm putting a patchwork design on this upcycled sweatshirt. I lay the pieces face down in my box lid. This is just an old box lid that I've used for this purpose for quite a while. It's getting pretty grungy. And I have it lined with some wax paper. I'm just going to lightly spray the back of these pieces. This one flipped over here. You don't need a lot. And then I can go ahead and I can lay the pieces on my sweatshirt. I put a little pocket. This is made from the cuffs of the sweatshirt. And I kind of thought this would look nice here. This piece of lace. What I like about this spray, it is temporary, and you can kind of reposition the pieces to your liking. I have not had any problems with gumming or breaking the needles with this. It just seems to work really well for my machine. And I like just the randomness of this. I have like a little V-neck on this sweatshirt. I'm going to add a little piece of the lace right there. And also adding a little piece to the bottom of the sleeve or the cuff. I cut the cuff off, but this is the turn back edge. And now this is ready for my sewing machine, and it'll stay in place until I get it underneath my machine and get the sewing done. And it actually stays pretty well stuck for several hours. Again, if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you know that I use the fabric, I cut my fabric with the Sizzix Big Shot a lot. Like, I use it all the time. The Big Shot is so easy. You just put the fabric on the die, you run it through the machine, and you get your piece cut. I can cut 4 layers of fabric at a time. It cuts through leather, it cuts through just about everything. Now I do use the Biggs dies when I'm cutting my fabric, and they can get a little bit spendy. When I buy a new die, well, I never buy them full price. Full price is usually like around $20. But they run them on sale a lot. Oops, excuse me. They run them on sale a lot at like Joann Fabrics, different places you can find them. But one of the sites that I use all the time is the Sizzix site. It's just www.sizzix.com, and they have like a clearance section right on their site. And I buy a lot of my dies on there. And another thing, I've signed up for their newsletter, and I do get notices when they're running a big sale. And I'm not kidding. Some of my dies I have purchased for my Biggs dies for $3-4 each on some of their clearance sales. So I would definitely check that out, and I would sign up for their newsletter if you're at all interested in getting started with the Sizzix Big Shot, or if you have one and you're trying to get your library of dies kind of built up. And the last thing, one of my all-time favorites, is the Quilter's Cut and Press tool. And you probably have seen this in some of my videos. It has the rotary cutter grid on one side, and then on the other side it has the press side. Mine is disgusting, and I'm probably going to have to invest in another one just because this looks so awful when I'm doing my videos. In fact, I usually try to cover it up. If you ever get one, you might want to use a press cloth when you're using heat and bond or any adhesive type thing, just to kind of prevent this from happening. But I tell you, I love this thing. It has this convenient handle, you know, and it's a perfect size. It goes 12 by 24 inch, so it's a great size. But I take this thing with me a lot. Honestly, even in front of the TV when I need a flat surface, it just sits on my lap, and I've got a work surface. But also I take it with me when I doing any kind of classes, when I'm teaching any kind of classes, because it's just pick up and go. So this was another one. This is probably, yeah, I mean, I use all 5 of these things every week in my sewing room. I don't think I really have a favorite out of the 5, and I hope you've taken something away from this. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a chance to create today. Thanks so much. Bye.